They're coming up from underneath us. So break in any second. You need to trust me.
Arcadian is a 2024 sci-fi creature feature horror movie, directed by Ben Brewer and written by Michael Nillen. It stars Nicolas Cage, Jaden Martell, and Maxwell Jenkins. A father and his two teenage sons fight to survive in a post-apocalyptic world.
You have to stay vigilant.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll meet you right here before the sun sets behind that hill.
It was good to see you.
You're late!
Sorry, I lost track of time.
So I just got back from the theaters checking out Arcadian, and this is a fairly small, simple kind of story, but it's tucked inside of this much grander concept, because basically the world's been taken over by this creature. I don't want to give anything more than that because I'm trying to not spoil this, but there is a form of a creature in this, and that's really the star of the show in this. And it's just this father played by Nicolas Cage and his two sons. And I thought the acting across the board was really well done, especially for something that is a fairly low budget movie. And in some ways you can feel the budgetary restraints in how simple it is, because there isn't any big grand sets or things you see. Everything really is about just the idea of what is out there. But it does a really good job of setting up that dread and that anxiety and not being sure if and when this entity is gonna appear or what it's gonna look like or what it can even do. You just simply see the fear on Nicolas Cage's face as he tries to protect his kids. And it does a good job too of kind of slowly letting you get glimpses of this thing and little by little kind of get an idea of what these creatures can do. But to be honest, it doesn't really prepare you for what you get, because I think people are going to be divided. They're either going to love this creature and what it does and how it works, or they're going to shit on it and just not think it's very cool. I personally thought it was savage, man. I loved the creatures in this, and that was what really sold me on this movie, because I had a good time with it. I wasn't blown away by this movie because it is fairly slow for a lot of it. It does do a lot of building these characters and giving you this family dynamic, which is well done. It just, the pacing of it was a little bit slow, and when you know from basically the jump that there's going to be some form of creature in this, it's like you're wanting to see it. You're wanting some payoff. You want to see what is going on here, and so it just feels a little extra slow, I think, because of that. But your patience is rewarded. You do see it. You do see what it's capable of. It does get bloody, not crazy gory, but you do see some blood. I personally thought these creatures were just so scary. I mean, some of the more intimidating creature designs and things that they're able to do than what I've seen in quite a while. But to confront the elephant in the room, this movie is very, very similar to A Quiet Place. It just is. I mean, the whole idea behind it, yes, it's not about sound per se, but still, it's these people that are trying to live off the grid and hide away from these creatures. The creatures, they're similar in a way. I mean, they don't really look like the same kind of creature, so I'm not saying that they're ripping anything off per se, but it is that same type of movie. And so it's one of those that isn't the most unique thing in the world, and it really comes down to if you're a fan of that kind of movie. If you like the simple sci-fi horror movies like I do, the creature feature kind of horror movies, then I think you'll dig this like I did. I just think that it's one you have to kind of keep your expectations in check. Don't go into this expecting, any kind of a game changer or to have your mind blown. But it does a great job of mood and atmosphere and keeping you on the edge of your seat. It gets really intense and ominous, especially in the second half, and really keeps you engaged. And it was interesting to see a more subdued Nicolas Cage, because he plays this very quiet, calm demeanor kind of dad who isn't bombastic at all, and definitely not like the Nicolas Cage we see through his career a lot. I mean, he really is a calm, quiet, kind of just introverted type of character in this, but it was refreshing because he still does a great job of having this presence on screen. But he isn't the central figure in this, really. It's about his two boys. It's really them that kind of the movie slowly becomes like they are the center, they are the core. It evolves into being much more about the two brothers and what it's like to be coming of age basically in this apocalyptic world. But this is a wonderfully shot movie. It's directed well. Like I said, the pacing is a little slow, especially in the first half, but it does a great job of setting up the atmosphere so it just has this great creepy vibe. And in the second half, there's plenty of action, plenty of creature craziness and kills and just all of the things that you want when you're going to see a creature feature. It is a fairly straightforward story as well. It doesn't take a ton of twists and turns. You don't get a lot of backstory about what these things are or what exactly, like how the world ends. It basically begins with you just seeing Nicolas Cage running through the city, but you don't see any of the thing going on. You just hear people, you know, yelling, screaming and all that, so you know craziness is going on, but you don't really see the devastation that's happening. It's more of just something that is talked about, something that is in the air that happened, but not really something that it shows. And like I said, that shows the limitation in, you know, the budget here. But I did appreciate it for that in a way because it knew what it was and it focused on that. It didn't try to overreach and have some really janky CGI or half-baked, you know, craziness in order to kind of show you those things. Instead, it focused on what it was trying to do and just be a story about these characters and their family dynamic and fatherhood, really, in a lot of ways, because you know, a lot of this movie is about Nicolas Cage and having to let them go and either sink or swim with what he has taught them. And that's terrifying in a way. If you've been a parent and, you know, you've had a kid grow up, there is that element of fear whenever you know, teach them how to drive the first time they drive away in a car, and there's a scene in here that is something along those lines. You know, it's sweet, it's wholesome, but it has a heart to it, which I really liked. So in some ways, it's kind of two different movies because the first half is much more about that and about developing this family and the heart that's there. And the second half is about the peril and this end of the world situation they find themselves in and how they're going to figure their way out of this. It is a Shudder release, so we're going to see it on Shudder, you know, in the near future. So you can definitely see it that way. But if you're someone like me that enjoys to support indie horror movies in theaters, definitely get out there and check it out because I think you'll have a good time with it.
They trapped us in.
But that's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for checking this out. If you enjoyed it, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and ding that little bell because that is the best way to keep track of this channel. And when I post videos like this, and I post videos like this every single week, I also want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to the Ghost Pirate crew, to you guys over on Patreon, and to the channel members over here. You guys mean absolutely so much to me. And if you would like to help support this channel over on Patreon, there's a link down in the description. Or if you want to become a channel member and help support the channel that way, there's a button right down there that says join. But like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun. And if you enjoyed this, click right here to watch my review of Sting. And I'll see you guys next time.